Oh, howdy all, grab yourselves a beer. It is time for some Path of Exile discussion. And again, in the spirit of getting out a few ideas about the game just prior to Exilecon, some of my sort of brainstorming ideas, I wanted to talk about three new ideas that I've had for crafting orbs. Now, the current suite of crafting orbs has been the same since 3.0 and Harbinger last introduced new ones. I'm leaving fossils out of this as fossils are their own animal. Now, when 3.0 came about, it added the Orb of Annulment, it added the Ancient Orb, it added the Harbinger's Orb, the Horizon Orb, and the much forgotten Orb of Binding and Engineer's Orb. Now, the first thing I would suggest is that the Orb of Binding should be added to low-level drops, because they are so good when you're leveling. I think they should start dropping at character levels 25, or monster level 25, which is when you first get 4 links, and they should stop dropping at monster level 67, which is when you completed the storyline. By that point, you probably want 5 links instead, but while you're leveling, Orbs of Binding are fantastic to have, and I think they should be more available. But I didn't want to talk about Orbs of Binding in this. I wanted to talk about some ideas for new crafting orbs. So firstly, I want to not just throw out ideas, but give some rationale as to the problems that I think that these orbs are intended to solve and how they do it. One replaces an existing item, and I want to start with that one. That is the humble Cartographer's Chisel. Currently, what it does is it adds 1 to 5% quality to a map. Now, I'm not suggesting that that changes. What I'm suggesting changes is the effect of quality on a map. At the moment, quality on a map adds to item drops. And this just results in us getting stricter and stricter filters all the time. The more items that drop from various sources, the stricter that efficiency-minded players have to set their loot filters. It doesn't actually end up making it more exciting. It just means that instead of seeing the best 30 of the 9,000 items that drop on a map, you see the best 30. Oh, sorry, not in a map, not in one map, in a series of 50 maps. So you run 50 maps, and perhaps 20,000 items drop in that 50 maps. If 20,000 items drop, then you might see the best 100 of them. If that was increased to 30,000 items, as happened in Legion, you're not going to be interested in seeing more than that best 100. Just the bar for the best 100 will change. And so players start removing things from their loot filters that they would otherwise have in them. I know that in adjusting to the economy of the Legion League, that I basically removed every single rare item from my filter unless it was something that held value when scoured. So that meant basically Shaper and Elder items only. In previous leagues, I've usually kept the best forms of item levels 85 and 86 jewelry visible, but in Legion, because there was so much more loot dropping, that stuff ended up just joining the ranks of not worth picking up alongside the humble Splinter of Ash or the Chromatic Orb. In the Blight League, it's been similar. It's been a Lootapalooza league, and so a number of items that would previously have been worth picking up in other leagues haven't been worth picking up. So, my suggestion is to change quantity bonus from quality on maps to instead be an XP bonus. The other effect of this is that at the moment, mapping is outclassed by some of the special gated content for gaining XP. So where currently your best way to gain XP quickly is to run things like Cheola Breachstones, Purified Cheola Breachstones, Domain of Timeless Conflict and the like. And these just outclass any sort of mapping. Even Headhunter mapping when Beyond is available can't keep up with the XP that you get from this premium gated content. The other one that people don't talk about as much, but that is also absolutely absurd, is the Safehouses. The Jun Safehouses at monster level 83. One of them will give you 5% XP at level 94, or just a sliver under 5%, and they can be done exceedingly fast. Fortification a little bit less so, but what you can do if you're really into min-maxing is, if you've got a whole guild of people, or not necessarily a guild, if you're just running one of these yourself, you can invite other people along and say, hey, come along, stupid amount of XP, and give us a little bit of a bonus for giving you that XP. So there's all of this content that provides much more XP than mapping. And so for that reason, I think that adding a bit of extra XP to maps will be beneficial for the game, as will decreasing the amount of items that drop in maps. So that's my proposal for the Cartographer's Chisel. Change its current effect from quantity to increase XP. Second item that I wanted to propose is all about exalted orbs not being worth using for their original implementation. So the stated effect of an exalted orb is to add a new mod, an additional mod onto an existing rare item. The problem is that there's a huge opportunity cost. If you slam an item, you're using up an exalted orb, and slamming just being the colloquial term for using an exalted orb as originally intended. There's a huge opportunity cost to this. The opportunity cost is that you can't use that to pay that same exalt to pay the fee for a multi-mod. You can't use it to pay for a meta mod. Various crafting options that exist that are extremely powerful and that quite simply provide better bang for your buck than exalting an item in almost every situation. So for that reason, what I wanted to propose is not a complete alternative to the exalted orb, but a new crafting item that is inferior to exalts, but that provides a way to slam items fairly effectively. And this is the exalted incubator. Now what this does, it can only be used on a rare item that has between 0 and 5 mods currently on it. And what it will do is it will add a veiled mod. Now I'm using the terminology veiled mod. I don't mean a mod in the sense of a Jun mod. What I mean is that it will add a mod that it'll be decided whether it's a prefix or a suffix, but its actual effect won't be revealed yet. And after a very large number of kills, so I think something in line with the amount necessary to unlock a Time Lost Incubator or a Geomancer's Incubator, after a very large number of kills, that Veiled mod will be replaced by a random rare mod. It's also something that would have 3 different versions. A lesser version that adds a level 1 to 67 mods, so one that comes from that could be rolled on an item sourced before maps, a normal one that adds a level 1 to 80 mod, and a greater one that adds a level 1 to 100 mod. The idea here is that the lesser exalted incubators are something that you could use pretty frivolously while you're leveling up. So you're leveling, you pick up a great amulet in Act 6, it's a 4 stat item, and you're like, you know what, I want a 5th mod on this, so I'll go and take it to the crafting bench, and then this would be even better if it had a 6th mod. Well, I'm not going to waste an exalted orb on it, because even if I got the best possible outcome, the final product's still going to be worth less than an exalt, but I'll throw a lesser exalted incubator on it, and then at some point that'll unlock, and I'll have an extra stat that'll make my character more powerful. The normal ones being levels 1 to 80 would be something that would be available for a large percentage of the player base. Like, pretty much this is intended as an item that would be mostly used by 12 and 24 challenge players, and would be something that would feel impactful when you use it, but would not be an expense that can't be justified like slamming an item would be. The greater one would be something that would have basically be a very long delayed effect exalted orb. These could be quite rare, whereas I think the normal and lesser ones wouldn't need to be all that rare. And these would be ways to improve your items that are short of spending exalted orbs on them, but that don't allow creating absolutely staggeringly powerful items. You'd still need exalted orbs to create the very best items, and especially that don't allow you to get immediate feedback on how well a craft has gone either. That's one of the things with exalts. It allows people to it exiles the very top end crafters. They can use hundreds of exalted orbs in one session because they know immediately, okay, that was a failure. Now I'm going to scale prefixes again. Okay, slam it, failure, scale prefixes. Slam, oh, that's amazing. That's exactly what I wanted. That in just that time that I said there, they've used 10 exalted orbs on that hypothetical item, and they can use a lot more than that too. If you want to see that in action, have a look at some of the sorts of people that have YouTube channels that do a lot of that sort of high-end crafting. There is Path of Math is one. There is Demigod. What's his name again? Demigod Lol, I think. Demigod King Lol. Two examples of players that do a lot of that. And there's also Cute Dog is the other one that comes to mind. Anyways, those are players that use a tremendous amount of Exalted Orbs in order to try to craft merit tier items. And those players would not be interested in using these Exalted Incubators because they're willing to pay considerably more in order to get immediate results. So, the third item I want to propose is the Transmogrifying Orb. And this again is based around improving an existing item. This is something you could use on a normal, magic, or rare item, and what it would do is it would preserve the mods currently on it, it would transform the item into a 6 mod rare item, but preserving all the mods currently on it, and at the same time corrupt the item. The intention here is that this is a considerably worse version of exalting the item out. So exalting an item out being that you just keep using firstly a Regal Orb if needed, then as many Exalted Orbs as possible until it is a 6 mod rare. This is a strictly worse version of that because the end product is corrupted and you can't stop along the way. However, it's a way that you can put a 4 mod item that you find during normal gameplay that you can upgrade it into a very powerful item without having to spend, again, exalts, or even a 3 mod item that you create while alt Regal crafting. Because it ends up corrupting the item, it prevents it from being used to generate the best items in the game. And that means that the actual top 0.01% of crafters won't be interested in using them. Which I think is actually a feature, not a bug, because it means that there'll be more of them available for people who are more casual players to craft with them. Anyways, those are 3 ideas that I thought would come out. The core to all of them is that they're about opening up the ability to craft by lowering the opportunity cost of improving existing rare items. That's with the exception of the Cartographer's Chisel changes, which are for totally different reasons. If you've got any thoughts or comments, definitely fire away. Otherwise, I will see you at ExileCon.